Here with me today to discuss the new normal tax operations is Justin O'Brien, partner in EY Financial Services Organization. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks, Ann. I'm really happy to be here today.
I'm excited. I know you and I chat a lot, and I think this will be some good info for everybody out there. I wanted to start with just kind of laying a little bit of groundwork of there's a lot of new challenges that come in the tax operations space right now. Could you share some of the client challenges that we're seeing in the industry?
Ideally, tax operations is no different from any other function at a firm. And everyone's really focusing on getting back to normal, adjusting to the new normal, and planning for what I call the next normal. But, when we talk specifically about tax operations, I think one of the things that folks were really identifying and strategizing on was the new workflow around paper-driven processes. As you know, a lot of the shops continue to rely on U.S. tax documentation in hard copy, printing and mailing tax returns to clients and requesting extensions, responding to IRS notices. And even in some tax operation shops, they actually still issue the tax certifications for their own investments and transactions. So there's a lot of paper-driven functions that clients of ours are still relying on. And for the incoming mail piece, we've seen a lot of firms mobilize people in their mailroom under safe conditions, of course, to go back in there, to sort out the mail, digitalize it, and then forward it to the appropriate areas. And I was really amazed to hear that and actually see people stand it up so quickly. But as you know, in most functions, especially new ones, we're seeing a lot of errors, seeing backlogs in work. So the remediation work can be quite burdensome. This backlog obviously causes customer service issues for clients, especially when you think of tax forms that haven't been processed yet, and our clients are kicking withholding in and really upsets the clients. So although we've seen these financial institutions up and running with their remote work environments, I don't think anyone ever considered that the entire workforce would be out this long.
I agree with that, Justin. Could you help me understand just the KPIs, maybe not talk about how they were before, but how should people be reevaluating their KPIs right now, just on maybe a day-to-day basis or from an executive level position?
I think some of the controls that people have in place today in the old normal are different from what's going to happen in today in the new normal, and certainly in the new next wave. Having the right indicators and identifying whether it's now data being moved from one to another and making sure those controls are in place versus something that really hadn't been done in the past. So I think an evaluation is going to have to get done once we start seeing more results from how we're behaving today in the new environment. And those will come out as we identify more and more concerns.
Yeah, definitely more to come. So I know some of our clients are certainly experiencing this significant business disruption, but there's been some that are not. And, they're operating as expected. There isn't this new normal and next normal. They've stood up a process that's pretty functional and it isn't just in this extreme disruption phase. But let's share with the audience some of those processes and technologies that our clients who aren't experiencing that significant business disruption are utilizing.
Yeah, sure. And you and I work on a lot of clients together. And, we've seen a lot of tax operations shops that kind of, and I don't know whether this is done for a reason or not, but they have different functions in different locations, right? And they've been working in this virtual connectivity for years. I think they've embraced the future of work mentality a year ago or 2 years ago, right? And so they've really been fortunate to be involved in this. The introduction of remote workers, embracing a self-service model and relying on data analytics and robotics to drive efficiencies in production. That future of work mentality, I think, is really what's driving them to be more successful.
Thanks, Justin. The ones that are being more successful, and you talk about kind of an automated type of system, non-paper based, is that something where there's not the typical back and forth you would see with clients at onboarding? Can you tell me more about that?
I think you do see that where folks have embraced, whether it's from tax operations reaching out and teaming with other business units like an AML KYC and working together, having a one view of a client as it comes into our shop. And I think that's where you'll see a lot of that future of work mentality where people will start looking for synergies within other operations. And that really drives why we've seen less business disruption here and much more happier clients. I can also say In my own view of this, I don't think anyone could have predicted this pandemic. Making everyone work from home certainly was never considered in any business continuity plan. Those firms that have been successful have been quickly adopted and in a much better place to manage businesses than they have seen in other situations like this, like 9/11 or Superstorm Sandy. These tax operations shops that moved away from this paper-driven processes have moved into a digitalized environment where the folks least impacted by the pandemic.
On the point you made earlier, just around self-service model and data analytics, I feel like it's thrown out there a lot, which is, just use data analytics. But have you seen successful models in tax operations of using data analytics? And if so, what specific functions?
Well, we've been working with clients using what we call a digitized dashboard. We call it our tax operations command center, but we've seen a lot of folks call it different names, and it's really allowing the tax operations department to better manage their work on a daily basis. And what I like most about it, it allows the tax operations department to be proactive. Tax operations departments generally hear noise from the clients after they withheld on someone, not because tax operations made a mistake, but the client forgot to send in a form or was sitting in the business area's desk. And I think that once tax operations start being proactive, they can provide better customer service because they can predict when income is being paid and if a client's going to be subject to withholding. They can predict and manage their workflow better. They can predict and manage where their workforce is. So all the things that are available at their fingertips with information that's already in their shop. But once you can bring it and customize it and get it on your desktop, it allows you to better manage your staff.
And I think the predictive aspect of it is really kind of key. And that's where I really see the significant benefit coming in, and especially for one of our clients who's able to see if they're about to go withhold on one of their, let's say, really large investors, because say, for example, a tax firm's expired, they can get in front of it before that withholding happens. I mean, that's like really, you're getting that true customer client benefit and experience. But I mean, obviously we know you got to get the data in there to appropriately get those analytics up front. So it's good to see some clients have started to be able to implement that.
That's right.
So I guess just moving forward into, there's certainly best practices with these processes and technologies, but like you said, I don't think that we're seeing the end of it. I think we're, in the beginning/middle, and let's talk a little bit about what's to come. And I'd love to hear about what can clients do right now that they can implement and utilize instead of thinking 12, 18 months from now. I think we should talk just a little bit more about what can they do right now.
I think right now our clients really have to start planning on what the next normal is. I used that term earlier, but we're seeing it today, right? The governments and states, they're already planning on how to emerge from the crisis that we're in. Going back to the old way of doing business, the normal, even the new normal that we're in today, isn't going to work. I think our clients are going to have to take a look at their old operating model and figure out what worked well during this pandemic and how they might be able to apply it and use it, and what didn't work well and how they can do that better. So I think our clients are going to have to start focusing on the transition back to the office or not, and then transform their business into something new. I think our clients also can't lose their special eye on customer service issues. I talked earlier about being proactive. I think there's also going to be a need to be empathetic to our clients. There's a lot of situations where people weren't able to react to requests from us, getting us tax forms and avoiding withholding. And in a lot of these cases that the IRS can't even provide information to our clients so they can give us something like a tax ID number because they're closed. And I think we'll be seeing a lot of forms coming back to us late. And, we're going to have to be able to react to those. Our clients will be, to refund their clients. And there might be situations where they're going to have to make sure that they're also complying with the IRS regulations in all cases, even though they want to be as sympathetic to their clients as possible. So I think, as they embrace those things, looking at this new operating model, reevaluating policies and procedures, and really focusing on how do I do things faster, better, and cheaper. And obviously, the proper planning is a top priority as clients mix this notion of buy, build, or outsource as they look at their new operating model.
I completely echo with what's next to come, looking at the transformative elements that they can, thinking about that. Do we build this particular process or technology, or do we go ahead and buy that? And I think people will see it as a different lens just based on what we're all experiencing right now. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and close out for today. And thank you, Justin, for coming and sharing the new normal for tax operations with me, and a lot more to come.
Thanks, Anna. Really appreciate it and love to come back.
So stay connected with us on EY.com for future editions of this series and all of our thought leadership. For questions, please contact your EY relationship partner or me.